Welcome to Business Administration 159, Sales Management. I think this will be one of the most important courses you'll take in the business administration sequence because we all sell. Even if you never have a job that directly involves calling on customers, presenting your product, and getting them to sign a purchase agreement, you're still selling. By the way you do your job, the service you provide to others, and those to whom you'll be able to promote your company, even through passing conversation, yes, you're selling. The knowledge and skills you pick up here will even help you in making your most important sales call of your life, selling yourself. After all, what is it you're doing when you apply for a job, or for credit, or a loan? You're selling. We're using the text Selling Today, Creating Customer Value by Manning, Reese, and Ahern. I know it's a pricey book, and I'm sorry about that, but you'll find that as far as textbooks go, this is a fairly quick and understandable read that just makes sense. As a hardback, I think that you'll find that it'll stand up for you for a few years, and you should actually keep it handy as a reference even after we finish the class at the end of the quarter. In our first unit, we'll take a look at the topics we'll be discussing all quarter to tie the entire course together. We'll discuss what personal selling is and the 3 prescriptions of a personal selling philosophy. As we are participants in an information economy, we'll study how the contributions of personal selling fit in. If marketing provides us with the base of what customers want, we'll look at how personal selling is an extension of marketing. Much of the course is centered on the concept of consultative selling, and will pay a special attention to the evolution of consultative selling from the former marketing era to our current time. Later on during the quarter, we'll delve into the strategic selling concept and the 4 broad areas in the strategic consultative selling model. One of the watchwords of modern-day business is the concept of partnering and how it fits into strategic selling. And finally, we'll cover how value-added strategies can make personal selling strategies even more effective for you. Then in the last few weeks of the course, we'll tie it all together as we look to the future, your role as sales manager. Each unit lecture will be within 10 minutes long and is intended to help embed the ideas presented in the text into your mind. While the material from the lectures will be on your power quizzes and you'll be discussing them, I wouldn't try to get by on just listening to the lectures. Oh no, you'll need to study the text seriously as well. Sales is an interesting and an active profession. Some would say it's even the most exciting part of working for a company. On the other hand, it can also be the most difficult, where you have to learn to take no for an answer and still somehow keep smiling and moving ahead. But it's also the job that likely has the highest compensation in a firm and the job that most directly leads into management, maybe even being the CEO someday. So let's begin with the personal selling philosophy. And this is where it all gets down to people with whom the presentations to potential customers are made, about what a product or service will do for them. The personal sales philosophy is made up of a trio of ideals: adopt the marketing concept, value personal selling, and assume the role of problem solver or partner with your clients. As a package, these ideals are part of the strategic consultative selling model. Now, we've been told for years now that we're well into the information age and into an information economy. We've actually been in an information economy for about half a century now. It's an evolution from our earlier industrial age, where we made the transition from making things on a huge scale to becoming more focused on using information to advance our businesses and economy. In the old days, well, we pretty much centered on selling as much of and as many specific things as possible. Things that largely came from factories. Well, now we're looking at how we use increased knowledge to improve customer relationships in adding value to our products and services. This is referred to as value-added selling. Back at the start of the information age, we developed the concept of marketing. There's a tendency to interchange marketing and sales as terms, but they're not the same at all. Marketing is actually based on producing or developing products or services on what the customer needs to be more successful or more profitable. As the text points out, the customers define business. From the birth of marketing, we then evolved into what is now known as consultative selling. This involves working very closely with the customer to identify and serve the client's needs. It's two-way communications to the fullest, not only making the sales presentation, but also listening to the customer very carefully. And while consultative selling came about fairly early in our evolutionary process, it still remains extremely important, and that's why we spend so much time discussing it. The customer is to be served. You don't overwhelm him or her with high-pressure tactics, and there's an emphasis on identification, solving problems, negotiation, and of course the emphasis on service throughout the entire process. From consultative selling, we move into strategic selling, which became a watch phrase in the 1980s. We adapted the earlier techniques to deal with increased global competition, more diverse products and services, and more people involved in decision making. Strategic planning matches a firm's resources to market opportunities. From here, we take this information and apply it to actually selling. The strategy is to plan and use the plan to achieve goals. This approach brings in taking on an even greater relationship between the seller and clients. Now, part of this is working with the customer as a problem solver and then employing adaptive selling techniques to meeting needs. Do you see now how strategies and techniques are beginning to merge? As we moved into the 1990s, we started seeing the birth of and the greater reliability of partnering as a strategy. Now, the idea here is that different businesses can work together to direct their strengths to meet market needs in endeavors that are mutually beneficial to all. One company may be very good at turning out a quality product, for instance, while another may be especially good at selling that product. So here our four basic strategies are applied. So now, and most recently over the last decade, we've seen partnerships turn into actual strategic selling alliances. This is where different firms with different products and services can fit into mutual goals which benefit each other. Through all of this, we have the next step of reaching into CRM, that's Customer Relationship Management, to build and maintain the strong customer relationship and base through increasing customer value. So from here we see that value creation is the new selling imperative. To enhance our abilities and successes in reaching and serving the customer, we're relying more than ever on information. This ideal has become so important that we're now into the information economy. The salesperson or team with the best information and which uses it with the best skills and motivation to serve the client will be the future winners. And this leads us to the four-part process. Understanding the customer's value needs, creating the value proposition, communicating that value proposition, and delivering the value proposition. So in this unit, we summarize the material that we'll be covering this quarter. From here, we'll take an in-depth look at your personal selling opportunities in an information age.